Hi, this is Charmaine Ironside, the Diet Dropout Guru, and I'm here today with Krystal Jackson. She is the co-founder and co-owner of Jackson Strength. She lives down in California, and I was blessed to meet her through another awesome friend and a life coach. And so today I wanted to ask Krystal some questions about body image. She was a very high level athlete in volleyball, and she's got kids of her own, and she coaches a lot of athletes, youth athletes. So I think it's going to be a really cool interview for adults, and if you've got kids or maybe you've got your daughters listening to this, I'm definitely more thinking of the females because that's kind of who I work with, and obviously I have a 2-year-old. But thanks for coming on, Krystal.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Awesome. Do you want to just tell us a little bit more about you, your life, what you love?
Yeah, absolutely. So, born and raised an athlete is what I like to say. Like, I literally came out of my mom's womb, like running. That's what she kept telling me. So just been an athlete my entire life, playing soccer. Then it was baseball with the boys and softball. Then it was into soccer and basketball at the same time. And then I quit soccer to play basketball and volleyball, and then really just gave up basketball to follow my true love of volleyball, going into my junior year of high school, and had a lot of success and was blessed to get a full ride scholarship to UCLA. And then after that, played a little bit on the AVP tour and represented the United States a couple times internationally. So I've had, and I got married along the way there to my husband and best friend, and we started Jackson Strength. It was actually my husband's vision of Jackson Strength. He called me and he was just like, I hate my job. I just want to start my own nutrition consulting business. And I'm like, cool, I make $700 a month coaching club volleyball. And we have a mortgage. How are we going to do this? And long story, it's been 10 years, but we made it happen. And now we have a super successful gym called Jackson Strength, where we train youth athletes and get them to their dream school or whatever their dreams are. We just help them get there. So it's super fun. I love it. And I'm excited to talk about body image, though, because it's something I'm actually very passionate about, especially with the youth population and what they're going through right now.
Awesome. Well, do you mind just telling us, I guess mostly when you're playing volleyball, but maybe you experienced this in other sports too, but what was it like to have pressure on you, to look a certain way, to be a certain body type, to have a certain amount of body fat? How did those kind of pressures affect you?
It affected me a lot. And I actually gave up on my dreams of being a high-level professional athlete in beach volleyball. So in college, my freshman, sophomore year, I definitely partied and ate a lot of junk food, and I gained a bunch of weight like everyone does. And then when I was 21, end of my junior year, I found out my dad had diabetes, and I had no idea. And he had had it since I was 5 years old. So I kind of did a reality check and changed what I was eating, and really changed my life. And I had met my husband about 6 months before then. So we kind of did this shift. And so I really started caring about what I was putting in my body. And I actually started overtraining and not eating enough. And I got really skinny and lean. And I say this because I see this cycle happen with women. It's like we make this shift, and then our body starts changing. And trust me, I loved the way I look, but also I was getting a lot of compliments on how I looked. So then I went a little bit more extreme of training more, eating less. And I wouldn't say it was a full-blown eating disorder, but it definitely was not the healthiest, if that makes sense. Like, I was training 4 hours or more and eating like egg whites in the morning and maybe like a half a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, which is not even stuff that I would typically eat now. But in between my workouts, and I would go to volleyball practice, go to class, and then go back to the weight room that night. So, I mean, the pressures of having that body as an athlete is a lot, and people make compliments. But then here's the flip side. I graduated college. I started playing on the beach. Now I'm in a bikini. And now the pressure was times 10, right? Because you're in a bikini, and I'm playing with girls that have better bodies than me. And so then I started going crazy in my brain and thinking more about what my body looked like than playing volleyball. And I'll share with you, I was my heaviest at 160 playing beach volleyball in a bikini. And some people might not think that that's too heavy. For my body type, that was heavy. And so it actually, it really defeated me. And I actually just ended up stopped playing beach volleyball because I just didn't see that my body was good enough. I wasn't the image that AVP, and it's nothing against AVP. It's what I made up the story that AVP wanted. Mm-hmm. So it's huge, and I was quote unquote doing all the perfect things, eating really clean, not drinking, and I was still my heaviest. And I was not having fun in life. I was not happy. Yeah.
So I think you touched on a kind of an interesting point. Now looking back, like obviously in the moment you thought you didn't look the part, but was that a story you made up in your head, or did you really, or were you getting criticism? Or I'm just curious about that, because I know a lot of us, it's like it's not even necessarily something someone said. It's just that we're surrounded by so much pressure with media and what we see on TV and the magazines. So sometimes it's not even reality. It's just a story we've made up. So I was curious about that.
Oh, 100%. It was a story I made up. I look back at pictures and sometimes I'm like, God, I looked fine. I totally looked fine. But it was a story that I made up that my body wasn't good enough. And I was never going to have the body that my partner or the girl across the net was going to have. And there was my limiting belief, right? That I could never have that body. And that's where I think really the failure started. And I'm so grateful for these failures though. Like it truly was a blessing in my life to be able to share that with other people and impact them, because it was a story I made up in my head. And, it was nothing. It's not like my husband said like, oh my God, you look fat. He would never say that. He always just said like how great I looked, but it was stepping on that court and feeling like all these people were judging me and making up stories of what people thought of me. No one ever said anything to me, to be honest, but it was just my internal dialogue of what I believed to be true. Right. And it wasn't true. Yeah.
So I mean, obviously like your performance as an athlete depends to a certain extent on your weight, but were you still like performing well, and did you literally just quit because you had felt too much pressure to look a certain way?
I performed pretty good. I don't think it was a weight issue. I honestly believe it was 100% it was my mindset, but I was more concerned at times what my body looked like than my performance. And that's where I hurt myself. And then it was just, Curtis had started this gym. It was time for me to join up with him. And it was kind of easy out. It was like, well, I'm not playing as good as I want to be. I'm critiquing myself. I had the worst dialogue talking about how fat I was all the time to myself. So there's, my best friend, who is me, was talking shit to myself all day long. And it was just time for me to be done. And then now when I go back out and play, I've had 2 kids. I have a 3 and 5-year-old. I'm leaner now than I was when I was playing beach volleyball. I'm way happier and I have more fun when I play. And so now when I go out and play, and, sometimes I play with some of the athletes from my gym, whether they're in high school or college, and I just remind them, I'm like, we're here to have fun. And they're like, no, we're here to win. I'm like, the winning will come. You got to just have fun and play because you love the sport and not worry about all the other stuff that's around you.
That's so cool. I love the idea that the journey to whatever your goal is has to match the destination. And yes, Racing is great and everything, but you've got to enjoy it because you never know what's going to happen either way, right?
Yeah. And I wasn't enjoying it. My journey, I was putting so much pressure on myself. And we kind of talked about this before we got on. It's like we, as an athlete and an athlete mind, we put so much pressure on ourselves that sometimes we don't even enjoy the process. And my husband shared this in one of our podcasts. He was talking about Ronda Rousey, and that came up. It was like the day before she did her second fight where she lost. So it was her back-to-back fight that she lost. And he's like, I'm calling it now. She's going to lose. Because her mindset is a fixed mindset that she hasn't been enjoying the process. The fixed mindset, it's like you win or you lose. The growth mindset, it's like, well, what can I learn from what I just faced? And so I invite everyone to see, no matter where you are, see it as a growth process. If you're not happy with where you are right now, there are people and coaches and things you can do to make it better, but that's all a choice in your head. That's a decision that you get to make and say, I'm done feeling like shit, talking like this to myself. If you're overweight, I'm done being overweight. And you get to make changes in your life, because we all have the opportunity every single day to make a healthier choice. So.
And did you like have some sort of change? Was it instant, like you got out of beach volleyball and everything changed, or did you have to start some more like self-love practices so that you would stop calling yourself fat and actually start to love your body?
Yeah, it's definitely been a process. And I think with any personal development transformation work, it's going to be a process that continues. There's still times where I'm like, my stomach. And it's like, really? Like it's just those like bad days, if you want to say, where we get in that victim mentality of like, I'm not good enough. And it took a long time. It took writing things out. So I love Louise Hay. She's incredible. She has a book named You Can Heal Your Life. And something I learned in her book was write down all your negative thoughts, like whatever it is. Let's just talk about our body. Oh, I think I'm fat. My legs are too big. And this is a little side note for everyone to know. I did not wear shorts for over 2 years because I thought my legs were too big. And that's crazy. Okay. But that was a story and a belief that I had made up in my head. So one of them was my legs are so fat. You write them all down, you cross them out, and you rewrite them. And it takes time for you to change your mindset. It's not just like swallow a pill, life is good. It's literally, or like smoke some weed or drink and life is good, right? It's actually taking on your own self and working forward and realizing that every day, again, like I just said, you get to wake up and choose your thoughts. You get to choose the food you put in your mouth. You get to choose your thoughts, who you surround yourself with, the social media that you surround yourself with. Like, only have positive things. If your house is not energizing you, switch it up, paint it, put up things. Like I see your sign, it says, follow your bliss. Like, follow your bliss, find happiness in the little things. Like, I love that you have those signs up, because it just is a reminder every single day. And so that was kind of long, but it definitely has been a process. And I still at times can catch myself doing a self beat up, and I have to stop myself. And then I'll think of like, something I'm really proud of is that I had 2 home births. Like, that's a beautiful thing that my body did. And it's like, why would we beat up our body, just because it doesn't look a certain way? It's like, why not just be grateful for the things that it's given us? Like 2 babies, that's amazing.
That's cool. Yeah, I love that perspective. And I mean, I think there's so many practices out there, but I know you and I both love Louise Hay's work, and yeah. Anything to kind of switch the channel. Like, it's not serving us to be thinking these thoughts, whether we are bigger or not. It doesn't even matter. It's not helpful either way. So I love the idea of writing it out actually physically, because I'll catch myself and I do something. I just say cancel 3 times, and then I'll reframe this thought. But I mean, anything, writing it, thinking it. And I agree with you. It probably took me 2 years. Yeah. Or maybe a year, but like really catching myself. I love what you said, like talking to yourself like you're your best friend. So if I had a thought that didn't align with that, I'd be like, ooh, I would never say that to my friends. And then I would cancel it, and I would just reframe. And yeah, I mean, it blows my mind that you didn't love your legs because you have you're such a great body. But I mean, all of us, right? Like me, I still have a hard time wearing shorts, and it's changing, and my dialogue's changing. But I mean, whether it's really like my legs actually look better in pants than shorts, it doesn't matter. But we just have to start changing the way we talk to ourselves. Because we all have those days where we literally are the same body shape, we're the same weight, but we look in the mirror and we go, ugh, like nothing's changed. It's just all up here. So that's what we need to use to fix the problem. I think we don't need to shed weight necessarily to fix the problem. We need to like shed our emotional burdens and
everything is mindset. Literally, when we come down, whether it's business, it's family, relationships, your body, making money, whatever it is, it's your mindset. And how do you look at it? Are you looking at it with a shitty mindset, or are you looking at the opportunities that are in front of you? And something you said, cancel, cancel, cancel. I've been doing that for years too. I love that. Literally, women would come up to me when I was pregnant and they would tell me their horror stories of pregnancy. And I would sit there and be like, cancel, 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 cancel. Because I'm like, I don't need that negative energy in my head of the trauma and all these things that happen during pregnancy. It's the same thing. If you have a friend that is constantly obsessing about their body and they're, let's just say they quote unquote have a perfect body, but all they talk about is I'm fat and this and that, and like, oh, I shouldn't eat that. Like, no offense, love them up. I love you so much, but like, I just need a little break, because that's not helping you. You want to have the friend that's around you that like loves their body. They love life. They see the opportunities that are out there. They want to like boost your confidence. That's the people you want to surround yourself with, not the person. And this is true for business too, right? Business, relationships. You don't want the people that are pulling you down. You want the people that are like building you up. Like, Charmaine, I see what you're doing and I know what you are doing in this world and your vision of it. It's incredible, and women need it badly. We need it, and we need that community so that we can support and love each other up, because it's not easy to do it and lone wolf it. And I was lone wolfing it for a long time, and life was so much harder by myself.
That's such a good point. I definitely fall into that, and kind of, I think I can do it myself. And connecting with the right people, like you said, the positive people that build you up can make such a world of difference when you're in a slump. Yeah. So one more question about you, and then maybe I'll turn it a little bit more to the athletes, youth athletes. But do you ever find that your athletic background informs your expectations of how you should look now? Just curious.
Yes, that's something I actually didn't talk about, was the pressure I put on myself, being not only a former high-level athlete, professional athlete, now I own a gym. I just had a baby, or even before I had a baby, I don't look, quote unquote, the part, right? Like, I was never this super lean, ripped person. And like in college, I was super lean. But I would say almost like I was just skinny lean, if that makes sense. Not skinny fat, but because I wasn't eating enough, I didn't have the muscle. Does that make sense? Like, I was skinny, but I wasn't super muscular. And then I went and gained a bunch of weight. And then, my husband and I are opening this gym together, and I didn't feel like I looked the part. So talk about beat up. So I'm playing beach volleyball in a bikini. We own a gym. I feel like I'm fat, and saying those words to myself, my legs are too big. I mean, it was just gnarly beat up. And it's cool that you're asking me these questions, because it's bringing up all these old emotions in a good way. Like, wow, I've come so far, all because I just really saw the beauty of my body. But to go back to your question, there's a lot of pressure in having, I think that's what you were saying, right? The like pressure of being a specific like body type, right?
Yeah, well, like just the way you kind of conditioned yourself to look as an athlete. Do you find now that you're not competing, but do you find that informs how you think you should look now?
Oh, thank you. I kind of got off track with the question there.
I like where you went with the gym, because I struggled with that a lot when I opened my gym. I'm like constantly beating myself up that I didn't look the part. But what's the part? I mean, I take care of my body. Yes, I love to eat, so yes, I probably hold a few extra pounds, but it's a hard balance to do it for yourself, not just for, the sport or the clients or what you perceive as the pressures, right?
Well, I actually feel like the more real we are, like I posted like a picture of our family having ice cream. It actually makes your clients and people that potentially could be your client or people that you're inspiring, like, oh, wow, they have ice cream, like, guess what? It was a double scoop ice cream too. And it was so good. You know what I mean? I mean, it's real life. It's not like I sit at home and I'm eating perfectly all day, every day. It's, like, we love ice cream. We'll go and have an ice cream. But on the flip side, no matter what, every night we have a green smoothie, our family. Wow. So even if like we go out, we go to dinner, and let's just say like we don't eat pasta, but let's just say we have bread. I don't know, there's an example. Like we really don't eat that much bread. Not that it, you know, your opinion, whether you like bread or not, it's not something I choose to eat, but let's just say I go have bread and we just have, or like pizza. Let's do that. We go have pizza, then we have ice cream. Well, we're not going to wait till tomorrow to make a change. That night, I'm actually doing my green smoothie and I'm taking my fiber pills so that I can help. This is my theory. This is my made up theory, but I actually believe that it helps me with my mindset, knowing that I'm going to drink my green smoothie and it's going to surround all the food that I just ate, and then I'm going to release it tomorrow. And there's no self beat up about it either. Like I don't eat to beat up myself. I eat because I want to. I had pizza the other day. I ran for an hour and a half. I went and had pizza and ice cream, went home, had my smoothie, no beat up. And I think that's key. To go back to your question though, being an athlete and how it impacts me and where I look to, like how I look today, I still, I actually do still compete at a lower level. So sometimes I'll go out and play beach volleyball tournaments. Now I'm really into running, which I'll share with you. Before like 3 months ago, I couldn't even run 2 miles, but I started, I'm a strength coach for a program with my business coach. And part of the program is that I have to do it too. And it's really changed my life because as an athlete, I love to compete. And so going into these races, you know, I've done a half marathon and then I did another half marathon where you go up the hill halfway, turn around, come back down. It's like the hardest half marathon. I had no idea. I went and did that. I'm doing a triathlon on Sunday. But here's what I'm getting at. I just still love to compete because I'm forever an athlete. And I do care about how I look right now because I want to be strong in my body to help me with the other things in my life. Being a strong mother shows a lot to my kids. You know, so the athlete body that was 21 years old is now just as important to me, but I'm not obsessed about how it looks. That's the difference. I just want to be a strong body so I can do chin-ups with my kids or run with my kids. Like it's just really important to me that as a mom, I can model this for my kids and love myself. My kids never hear me or see me beat up myself about my body because that's not an option anymore. Do I have the random thought and I have to do, like you said, the cancel? Yes, but I show my kids that I'm a strong mom. I love my body. I put in nutrient-dense food into my body, and I still have balance by eating pizza and ice cream every once in a while.
I love that so much. I think, you know, kids don't even learn from what we say. They just learn from what they see us do. And
for sure.
I also love the idea of, you know, having a goal that's deeper than just a physical appearance, because I get a lot of clients, you know, they want to fit in a dress or they want to fit in another size smaller clothes, or they've got a wedding. And I'm like, okay, that's great, but it's not going to sustain you long term. Let's find a deeper why. And like your why of wanting to, you know, inspire your kids. I mean, that's for me one of my whys as well. But I think that's one of the most important things before you start any kind of transformation journey. It's just like, why are you doing it? And that's because when I don't want to get out of bed at, you know, 5 a.m, that's what I think about. If I do too many days in a row where I don't, then I'm not going to be living my why, right? So cool. So we'll turn a little bit to, that's a good segue into the inspiring and, you know, training youth athletes. That's not something that I'm super familiar with. I've trained a couple snowboard athletes over the years, and that's been really fun. Snowboarding, we wear big snowsuits. So the body image during snowboarding is definitely not something that really matters. I didn't find. I was always a little bit overweight as an athlete, and it didn't affect performance too much anyways. But I know, like, whether it's swimming or dance or volleyball, like, there are a lot of sports where the body is really on display. So do you have any tips for teens kind of that have a lot of pressure to look a certain way, and how to maybe do that but in a more healthy way?
Yeah, you know, well, first of all, I'll speak into like a youth beach volleyball player as an example. Okay. We live half the time in California and half the time in Montana. We are very fortunate in our situation. But I see it more in California and less in Montana. But now girls are wearing pretty much a G-string, right? I don't know how it is in Canada, but here it is a lot of cheeks, which is great. And if you got it, flaunt it, whatever you need to do for you, like you do you. But I see this, the girls are actually wearing like smaller bottoms to compete in volleyball. So now here we have like a 12, 13, 14-year-old or 18-year-old wearing a tiny bikini. Like there has to be stuff that's going on, if you have that thought, or like if you're competing and you're barely wearing, but here's where you get to go back to. So let's just say youth high school athlete wearing a small bikini playing beach volleyball. You got to just focus on your sport. It does not matter what you look like, honestly. And I say this with love, like Misty May, that didn't have the perfect body. She is like one of the best all-time greatest beach volleyball players. Do you know who that is?
Oh, sorry.
I was like, okay, she's looking at me like, I don't know if she knows who that is. So Misty and Carrie have won back-to-back gold medals in the Olympics for USA. Okay. And I say that with love. Like Missy looked great. She had a great body, but it still wasn't quote unquote perfect body, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So, it doesn't matter what your body looks like. Focus on the performance. Focus on what and like you talked about the why, what's your end result? You know what I mean? Like, what is it that inspires you to get out and work every day? If you want to get a scholarship to go play at your dream school, you want to make a certain team, club volleyball, or whatever your sport is, or make your high school team, like focus on that. And don't worry about all the body stuff. Like everything's going to come with it. It's all about the effort that you put in, and the reward will be there at the end. And we were talking about this before. The beginning is really fun when you start, and the end is really fun. Enjoy the process in the middle as well. And if you need to build your confidence, write down 3 things that you love about yourself every single night. Instead of thinking, okay, if I have a perfect body, I'm going to be better as an athlete. That's not true. You can have, I'm trying to think of a great example. I think about Major League Baseball players. They're not in great shape. If anyone ever watches Major League Baseball, there's not that many baseball players you can look at and be like, wow, they're in shape. They're actually more out of shape, like they're just bigger guys, but they're still like excelling at their sport. So, it's really up here is what's going to get you there. So focus, or just be mindful of the thoughts that are coming in and out of your head, and make sure the ones that are coming in are all about you succeeding in life versus ripping yourself apart. And you and I both know this. As an athlete, it's super easy to rip yourself apart. But I want to inspire and challenge all these athletes to actually be the 1% that builds themselves up, because they're going to get better and they're going to be the ones that will excel the most.
That's awesome. And so in your gym, have you noticed, athletes making comments, and do you have specific things you'll say to them in the moment?
Yeah. So, my office has been an office with a lot of tears. Somehow, I don't know what it is, but the girls open up to me and we talk, and there was one day there was like 3 girls in a row that left my office crying, and this boy comes in and he's like, what is going on? I'm like, well, sit down and talk. Let's just talk, And all it is I created a safe space for girls to talk to me. And that's really what it is. It's hard to share it with your mom. Of course, it's hard to share it with your dad. But here's the thing, like what I would tell them, I was like, you're perfect exactly the way you are. There's nothing you need to change about you. And this is, there may be a girl that's like a little bigger, and then a girl that's like in the perfect body. It doesn't matter where your body is. Everyone has insecurities. I don't care if you have your Heidi Klum and you have the perfect body. Guarantee she has something that has come up in her life that has been like, oh my God, I think my legs are fat. Right? We're women. We critique ourselves. And literally, if you can just say to yourself, I'm perfect the way I am. And if you want to change something, then see that as an amazing opportunity. I love saying opportunity, because it truly is an opportunity. It's not a challenge. It's not something that you have to, it's not a problem, I guess. I don't like to say it's not a problem. It's an opportunity that you want to, you want to improve your body. Awesome. That's an opportunity that you get to make yourself even better versus, seeing yourself as like, oh, my legs are so fat. That's a problem, right?
I love that. Yeah. And I know for me, it's the journey idea again. I think we're in this society and culture that's such a fast pace. Like I want it all now. And yes, if you, as if you starve yourself and deprive yourself of calories, you'll
Yeah.
probably drop the weight quickly. But I mean, it always comes back on as fast as it came off. And so
Yeah.
I've been working on that. Like I've been working for 6 months on getting a better butt. And
I love it.
it doesn't come from a place of self-hate though. And
Yeah.
it used to, I'll be completely honest. Like I used to just beat myself up in the mirror. And now I'm like looking at my butt, it's getting a little perkier and it's exciting. And like you said, it's an opportunity. It's not that my butt's not okay how it is, but yes, there's something I want that's more. But I think the biggest thing to realize is, like you said, just getting a better butt's not going to make me instantly happy. It's just an exciting challenge or opportunity. But I think that's a big thing in life, is like realizing that you're not just going to arrive one day and everything's going to fall into place. It's just a constant journey and things are always going to be changing. And finding some way to accept and love yourself now is the key. And I like what you said, writing down what you're grateful for about your body. And there's so much gratitude and self-love practices out there, but and even just the fact that you give people a safe place to talk about it, because a lot of people are probably ashamed of it, right?
For sure. That's why there's so many tiers and I'm talking about, a 13-year-old to an 18-year-old, and even in college, so at 13, they're feeling like they're fat, or I just say fat because that's just, it hits home to everyone, right? Mm-hmm. But they're having insecurities about their body at 13. Like, honestly, that's not even something that should be on our radar. We should still every day we should just still be having fun. Something you said though, I know, I've asked people this before and it actually stumps people. When I say, write 3 things that you love about your body. It always stumps people. So what if you just wrote down 1 thing a day, instead of like 3 things once a week or once in your lifetime, once a day, you just said like, I'm really grateful for my strong legs that carry me throughout my day. So I did this, I guess it was last summer I did this. I can't remember how many days. I want to say it was like 16 days or something, 15 days of body gratitude. And it's on my Instagram page. So if you go to @Krystal Jackson 12, because 12 is my college number and I love the number 12, you'll see I posted a body part every single day and I showed gratitude to it.
Love that.
And it was just this inspiration that came to me. And I have to say, when I shared the picture of my stomach, holy cow, do you know what I mean? Like all these insecurities came up of like, first of all, I'm not the like fitness person that shows my body off. Not that I don't think I could. It's just not who I am. And there's no judgment towards anybody else. It's just not how I've ran with my brand here. It's more about athletic performance for us. And so I showed a picture of my stomach and I even wrote about it. I was like, this is scary for me to do this. But it was and I didn't take a picture of my butt for my butt day, but
I know, I'm like, I'm thinking about that right now.
I wasn't like, hey, look at my butt, but I talked about was my boobs and how grateful I am for my breasts or boobs, because I fed my children for 2.5 years through that. Mm-hmm. So if we could shift and see the beauty of our body and what it gives us, my legs give me the opportunity to run. And that day that I showed gratitude to my legs, when I wrote about it and posted it, I ran the fastest I had ever run. And remember, I was not a runner. This was a year ago and I'm running. I'm like, wow, I feel really strong today. But it's because I actually loved on myself versus, oh my God, my legs are so big. Like, can you guys see that? It's just such a shift when we can say how much we love our body versus like beating ourselves up. There's enough things surrounding us and people that want to bring us down. So you have to fight for your life, in the sense of you have to fight for you and be like, you know what? I don't need you in my life. I don't need this in my life. And I only want to surround myself with people that are going to make me better. And I know we talked about that earlier, but I'm serious. There's no one in your life that's going to pick you up like you pick yourself up.
Love that. Yeah. And I've started to think of my body as like an ally or a friend on this journey.
Yeah.
A lot of the time I look at it with food. It's like, I'm making food choices because I care about this body and I want to feel good and I want to be disease free and I want to perform and all that stuff. Yeah. But it's changed so much. Like, it's like I'm not just doing it because I hate myself and I want to slim down.
Yeah,
Much easier when you do it that way. And
for sure.
yeah, awesome. Well, I wanted to keep this interview really a little bit shorter. So if you could just finish off with 3 tips for youth athletes to just find a little bit more compassion and love for their bodies, and or even performance tips.
Okay, awesome. So I'm going to make these 3 for youth athletes, but also the everyday athlete and mom athlete, because we're mom athletes.
All athletes.
Yeah, for all athletes, and specifically to women, because we just have a different mindset than a dude. We do. Like, but I think dudes kind of go through the same thing too. But number 1 is show gratitude to yourself daily. You have to, just like I talked about, like seriously, your body, you want it to perform optimally, you got to love up on your body. And that's even like your organs. Like, thank you for my liver and my kidney and my gallbladder and my eyes. I mean, it's just everything that it's all working, because we never think about it, right? We just wake up and we do our thing. We don't really think about all the crazy things that our body does for us. Second one is enjoy, like we talked about, enjoy the journey. It's not a failure, you guys. And trust me, I have had major beat up on the failures in my life. See it as you're failing forward. So you are moving forward in the process, because it's not where you start, it's where you finish. And you have to enjoy those ups and downs, those roller coasters along the way. It's going to make it so much more fun. Like, why go through it if you're going to be hating yourself and be an angry, upset, frustrated, not fun person to be around, you know? And I have to tell you guys, I had that day yesterday. I was sharing with Charmaine. I had a total shit day. But here's the thing. I changed it today, because that's not who I was. And it was just one of those days that you just, okay, you know what? I was in my stuff, and now today I'm good. And then the last one, I think just have fun. Whatever, if you're in the sport, you're playing in the sport, whether you're a youth athlete, a high school, college, adult, mom, life athlete, whatever, you have to do it because it's fun. If you're going to do it because your mom and dad told you to, or because you feel like you have to, you're not going to like it. And then you're going to sit there and be like, why am I doing this? So if it's like fuels your soul, you do it. If it's a workout, right? Like running, I love running now. It clears my mind. I think it's like amazing, but I also love to lift heavy weights. That's amazing. Like, that fuels me up too. But going to do like Zumba doesn't fire me up, but it might fire you up, like you, or whatever it is. Like, go do the thing that you love. Like, I love yoga too, for like the mind, body, spirit, all of that. Like, those 3 things are like my loves, and I'm going to keep doing those, but I'm not going to do the thing that like drains me.
I love that. I love that for, I think we're all athletes, like you said, but whether you're competitive or not, you have to find some kind of movement that makes you feel joyful and excited.
Yeah.
And it's not just all about like weight loss, or, I mean, obviously with athletes, it's about more than that, but I love the idea of finding something that really lights you up, and maybe that takes some experimenting too. So
yeah.
Okay, well, amazing. I'd love to interview you more about being such a passionate, inspiring mom too, because I think I have a lot to say on that topic. So if you can just let us know where we can find you. I know you said Instagram at Krystal Jackson 12. I'm a big Instagram fan. So
I love Instagram. That's my personal Krystal Jackson 12. My company is Jackson Strength. That's our last name, and like, we get you strong. And then you can go to our website, www.jacksonstrength.com. We're on Facebook. Every Monday I do a Facebook Live. I call it Mindset Monday for athletes. So, and that's athletes of all ages, but you can check us out there. And if you sign up for our newsletter, I'll send you guys, top 10 tips to improving athletic performance and injury prevention from Jackson Strength.
Oh, that's so awesome. Thanks so much, Krystal. You're amazing. Lots of great insight, and I'll be excited to chat again.
Thank you so much, Charmaine. This was such a gift to do this, and I'm excited. Anytime you want to have me back, I would love it.
Awesome. Thanks.
Bye.